A round of applause.
Bad.
Hello, welcome. I'm Tom Kerridge and welcome to this Facebook Live cook-along in association with Full-Time Meals and Kate Hall from the Full Freezer.
Thank you very much.
So if you have any questions or anything you want to know, please drop it in. We'll try and answer them in real time. And I'm going to cook a recipe for you that's budget-friendly, quick, easy to do. Hopefully you've got your ingredients and your recipe card for hot dog pasta with the few ingredients that you're going to need, which is dried pasta, 1 mug of frozen peas, half a mug of frozen sweet corn, some spring onions, 1 stock cube, and this is one of those crumbly ones. This is a chicken one, but you can use a vegetable one if you like, no bother. A tin of hot dog sausages, some cream cheese. I've got here the lighter reduced fat one. Some grated Parmesan cheese, but this is the stuff that comes in the little pot that you can keep in the fridge. Some salt and some pepper, a little bit of vegetable oil, and some American style mustard. But that's only if you want it. No worries if you haven't got it. So the first thing we're going to do is a pan of boiling water with a pinch of salt in. We're going to cook our pasta shells. Now these are going to take around about 10 to 12 minutes. So I'm going to get them in first. All of this can be done in real time, okay? As long as you've got your ingredients set out, ready to go, you'll be able to get the cooking done in the time it takes for the pasta to come to the boil and get soft. So I'm going to put that in first.
Can you tell us a bit today? We're at the London Community Kitchen. So what do they do, Tom, there? So
this is a London-based community kitchen that uses fantastic food that would normally go to landfill, that works for a cafe. It also then works as a cookery school, so people can come along, learn how to cook, particularly if you're working to a budget, which is exactly what this recipe is. It's a recipe that works on a budget in association with the Full-Time Meals, which has been all about trying to drive the uptake in the Healthy Start vouchers. And if you don't know about the Healthy Start vouchers and you qualify them, then you should get looking for them, because they are valued at £4.25 per child for each child that's under school age. So it makes a big, big difference. It allows you to buy pulses and vegetables and fruit and milk, and also some formula milk. So it's definitely worth investing in, particularly in these times when obviously the money is a little bit tighter. Every little bit that helps goes a long, long way. Yeah, because how hard would you say at the moment it is to cook on a budget? I mean, yes, it's difficult to cook on a budget. I think it's very difficult to everyone's budgeting for themselves at home, which is, and we've all seen the rising costs, and food is the first place that it gets hit, particularly in the staples, things like bread, things like pasta, oil, cooking oil, all these sort of things that we all need to use for basic cooking, sustenance, the fillers, the things that we all use at home. All of those prices are rising massively. But to cook budget-friendly, pocket-friendly meals, with a little few tricks, tips, helpful hints, something like this, it is accessible. You can do it. It just takes just a little bit of effort and a little bit of time to find out those recipes, all of which are available on the Full-Time Meals Facebook page or Instagram site. So there's 52 recipes up there. So even if you think, I don't like that, there's 52 recipes. You've got more there to choose from.
I do love, the tricks and techniques to get the flavour in without needing lots and lots of different ingredients.
Well, this is it. This is a campaign that both myself and Marcus Rashford came up with. The idea, because Marcus himself freely admitted that he's not a great chef. It's not much that he's had to incorporate into his life. However, his background is very similar to mine. We both come from single parent families. We both qualified for free school meals. Our mum had 2 jobs. Where I at home started to learn to cook. We were in my day, it was called latchkey kids. Yeah. So I would come home and cook for my brother. Marcus was out learning to be a world-class footballer. I was making fish finger sandwiches, essentially learning to be a chef.
So would you say, is that probably one of your favourite in the Full-Time meals? You've got a fish finger sandwich in there, haven't you?
We got a fish finger sandwich in there, which was, it's super tasty, really easy. It's sustained, it's filling, But we got to remember that this might be one of the only hot meals that somebody might eat eat during the day. So yeah, it's got to be robust. It's got to keep people filled up. And yeah, it was really good fun. And we actually ended up getting Louis Tomlinson to have a go at making that. So with the campaign, we would cook a meal on the Sunday, and then somebody else would have another go on the Monday. So it might be one of Marcus's friends, one of mine, or just some kids or families that wanted to have a go at it. Some of which we got a few VTs floating about of some of the children cooking. If we have a look at one of them now.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. Seeing kids cook is one of the most joyous things. I love it. And the joy on their faces, you know, when they come to the point, there's that sense of achievement. There's a sense that they've made something. I mean, it's brilliant. Now, look, well, just to recap,
yes.
If you've just joined us, we are cooking a hot dog pasta from the Full-Time Meals campaign. In here, I've got some pasta that's boiling away in some salted boiling water. I have a tin of hot dog sausage, and now I'm just going to cut these sausages up, okay? We're going to use all of them. Just stretch them as far as possible. One tin of hot dog sausages will go quite a long way.
Yeah.
Particularly if you chop them up, mix them with a few other ingredients.
And if somebody was cooking at home by themselves as well, I'd love to highlight the fact that you can freeze these leftover bits and pieces. So if you're on your own and you're cooking, then hot dog sausages, chop them up, pop them on a tray, line tray, pop them in the freezer, and then you'll be able to cook with those from frozen for either the same meal another time, or you can make a totally different meal as well, which is, you know, the whole focus of, kind of my side of what I do with the freezer.
Yeah, the freezer, I tell you what, the freezer, if you're working on a budget, it's one of the, not even if you're working on a budget, just like freezer is such a fantastic thing for you to be able to utilize your cooking skills and understanding and stretching things. Also, when it comes to the vegetables, so we have frozen peas and frozen sweet corn here. Now, I mean, there used to be quite a bit of snobbery about frozen vegetables, and I just don't understand it. No. You know, the peas, the sweet corn, they're super sweet, they're super delicious, they're picked frozen. And the great thing about frozen veg is not just these. You can have mixed veg, you can have mixed peppers, you can have onions, you can have all sorts of things that are in the freezer. Now, if you work into a budget, quite often, and we're all guilty of it, if you have a fridge, you'll buy some veg and you'll use bits and bobs, but actually you might not use all of the onion, you only use half of an onion, or a bit of celery, or a couple of carrots. And by the end of the week, you've got this kind of like boingy, rubbery carrot that actually you can't use anymore. So this is the point where frozen veg is fantastic. Bag of mixed frozen veg, bag of frozen peas, just take out exactly what you need. That's it. And then there's like almost a zero waste policy.
Yes, I do love that about all of the meals that you've got, that you see so much of tin produce or frozen produce, which is fantastic quality and is great for, you know, all the family, and doesn't have that waste. Now, I know we want to get the audience involved in everything today, so we have got a poll. So we'd really like to know what your favourite shape of pasta is. Like, I will always go for a fusilli, if I'm honest.
Okay.
But what about you, Tom?
See, I'm a big fan of spaghetti. Huh? I'm a huge fan of spaghetti. I think it's great. It's the most fun to eat.
Yeah.
See, that for me is the most fun to eat. It's great. It gets everywhere. It's, you know, so for me, spaghetti is my favorite. Now, the spring onions I've just chopped up, and I've chopped all the way, okay, from the green end all the way to the white. So quite often some people will cut the top, the green end, and throw it away. You don't want to do that. You want to use all of it. Use all of it. It's all got flavor. The green end is big, punchy, and strong. And that's also another tip when it comes to things like cauliflower or broccoli. Those are the sort of ingredients. Those are the vegetables that quite often people will buy, keep in their fridges. But the green bits of the outside of a cauliflower, absolutely delicious.
Broccoli stem in a stir fry or something.
Broccoli stem is amazing. It would work beautifully in this. And this is the thing, the peas, the sweet corns, you can swap it out. It's no problem at all. The broccoli stem, if you think about it, essentially, a broccoli is the head of a flower. So that stem is the bit where all the nutrients and all the water come from the roots. That's where it's getting fed from. So that stem, that's where so much flavour is. do not throw broccoli stems away. They go a long way. They taste fantastic.
No need
They're
to do
incredible.
So where are we up to with the recipe now?
Okay, so we have the pasta boiling away. Now, it's quite important that this water, we're going to keep some of this water, because as this pasta cooks, starches come out of the flour and that's been made into that pasta. Now, we want some of that to create a lovely, rich sauce, okay? So with the sauce that we're going to use, it's going to be using the cream cheese and the pasta water that's going to get mixed together, okay? So it gives it this lovely coating, and the starch that comes out, the pasta water, you can see it's quite thick, it's quite bubbly. It's going to give it this kind of a beautiful coating texture when we make a sauce to go over the top.
Lovely, lovely. You've shared quite a few good tips in with that there. Are there any other great, starter cooking tips that you can share with us as well? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people get nervous about cooking in the kitchen and having a go at it for the first time. And some of the best things you can do are kind of like one pan, one tray bakes, those sort of ideas. If you're a little bit nervous about having too many things going all at once, actually have a look at some of the recipes, and quite a few of them are for tray bakes or simple dishes where you can just get everything in a tray, drizzle with a bit of oil, whack it in the oven and leave it alone. Come back, maybe add a couple more ingredients or stir in some frozen peas or something towards the end. Things like rice dishes, all those sort of things that you may be a little bit nervous of. And the other thing is, I would say always just give it a go. Now, I thoroughly understand that if you're working towards a budget and you've got a family, I've got a 6-year-old. He's the fussiest thing in the world. It doesn't matter who your dad is. You don't want to spend money on something, having a go at cooking something that your child is then going to go, no, I don't like that. Yeah. Because it might be the only meal that they're going to get that day. So what you want to do is have a look at the recipes, find recipes that people understand, that your kids are going to like. Maybe add a few little things like tortilla pizzas, those tortilla wraps. Actually, I was going to say that. It's amazing.
They're incredible, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so super simple, easy. You use the wraps for packed lunches or whatever anyway, but baking one or two of those with a little bit of tomato sauce on the top, put a few toppings on, and this is a great way I've found of introducing vegetables into my little man's diet. So you could put a few bits of sweet corn, a few bits of peas, or a few whatever, some of those frozen vegetables or sliced peppers that you might have, sprinkle them over the top. It's another great way of letting kids eat. And on that point, I think that'll allow us to have another look at another great VT of kids cooking.
I think it looks tasty. I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I have 6.
Did you like the sandwiches?
Yes, I'll make sandwiches again.
Okay, amazing. Now, welcome back. In that time that you've been away watching that, my pasta is cooked. Now, before I drain it, okay, I'm going to take an empty mug and I'm going to just drain about a mug's worth of the pasta water. And you can see, I don't know if you can quite see in there. Can we see in there? It's a little bit, probably not. It's a bit yellowy and starchy. You wouldn't want to drink it. You definitely wouldn't want to make a cup of tea out of it. However, it is going to make a great sauce. So I'm going to keep that to one side. And imagine I've got a sink instead of a washing up bowl. We're now going to drain the pasta, okay? And get rid of the rest of that water.
Fantastic.
Now the pan, another thing we want to do, we're also very conscious of heating, electricity, gas. Using one pan, keeping the washing up low as well. That's quite important. Going to put the pan back on the heat with the drained pasta we're going to put to one side. And then in this pan, I'm going to put about just over half a cup of that pasta water. And then the stock cube, okay? Then into that, I'm going to put the frozen peas and the sweet corn. We're gently going to cook it out, warm them through. Now, these will take absolutely no time at all to cook, all right? In fact, all you need to do, really, if you wanted to, is you could just defrost them, and that would work beautifully. They're all pretty much already cooked. By the time they come out of the freezer, they're broken down and they're delicious.
I was going to ask for anyone at home whether if you're using frozen, you don't need to defrost before you put them in, do you? You can literally just...
No, you can throw them in. You could throw them into the pasta water.
Yeah.
So you could put the frozen peas straight into the pasta water for the last 2 minutes of that pasta cooking. Get those peas cooked, drain it all off together. It's not a problem at all.
And speaking of the pasta, we did have a winner, which I'm really surprised by. It's not my favourite. Shells came in at 41%. So Shells is apparently the one to go for.
Really?
We do have another poll as well. So the next poll is, we want you to tell us how much cheese do you put on your pasta? I am a cheese fiend. I literally coat my pasta. So what about you, Tom?
I love cheese. I think it's amazing. I think it's great. But again, it's one of those things that's quite expensive. You can buy it ready grated and it does freeze.
Yes.
Like cheese freezes very well as well. So you can have a packet of ready grated cheese in the freezer. I'm just going to drop the sausages in there and stir them around as well and let them heat up. And all of a sudden you can see this starting to come together, these beautiful colours. And they're all beginning to get glazed in that lovely and incredible kind of starchy pasta water, all right?
What made you decide to start the campaign with Marcus and everything? What was the inspiration to begin?
Well, we both come from similar backgrounds. Marcus was given a big shout out to everybody that came from disadvantaged backgrounds, free school meals, this whole kind of connection to a whole demographic of people that all of a sudden it was being talked to by somebody who understood, somebody who had been there, rather than preached at by a do-gooding, feel good about themselves kind of government. There was a spokesperson for people that understood it, had been there, and could connect with everybody. And the wonderful thing about Marcus was the fact that it doesn't matter which football team he played for, he connected to everybody. And I've been very fortunate to spend time with him in real life. And as a human being, he has an incredible, wonderful heart. He's kind, he's caring, and he genuinely wants to help and make sure that no child goes to bed hungry. And, and that throughout the whole period of where we were at, we were all going through a very difficult point. Lots of us were at home. Lots of us were worried about what was happening. And that messaging then, it really did hit home about how important, Marcus's campaigning was. So we kind of connected through various different means in terms of through either the football club or the national food strategy that we're all a part of. And then there's a huge amount of people that want to help. So that initial connection and that conversation, we instantly knew that we wanted to do something. And Marcus said, I'd like to learn to cook. So it kind of made complete sense that with Marcus's outreach and his ability to connect with people and hopefully a skill set that I could put into place between the two of us, it meant that it could go a long way and hopefully make a difference to a lot of people's lives.
Fantastic.
Okay, so just a quick recap. We have in here the stock cube, the pasta water, the peas, the sweet corn, and the chopped up sausages. Now at this point, I'm going to put in 4 tablespoons of the cream cheese.
Fantastic. And if anybody's got any questions for Tom whilst we're cooking, please do add them in. We do have a couple, which I'm aware of. So one question that we did have was about who actually first taught you to cook.
So again, like I mentioned, my mum would go to work, and then she'd get a secondary job in the evening. So my mum would teach me a few skills, but learning to cook, it was much more about learning to be in the kitchen, because I was essentially doing potato waffles or fish fingers or kind of like a pot noodle, the super noodles and those sort of things that, they taste delicious, but it was that connection with heat, a pan, cooking something, and then getting something in return from it. Those were my initial reactions and my first experiences of cooking. So I suppose I would say my mum, but it wasn't like I was brought up making apple pies and lovely Sunday roasts for the family or to sit down. It was very different. It was very basic cooking, but one of those skill sets that I think we all need to have as a life skill set. It makes a big, big difference for us to be able to concentrate, move forward, and make things work in a much better way for everybody to have a go at cooking. So it's those confidence things that we'd like people to have a go at doing, feel much better, much more comfortable in a kitchen, even if it's boiling a kettle and cooking an omelette in the kettle.
That's amazing.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Absolutely inspired.
Yeah.
just, yeah, genius.
So the cream cheese has gone in. We're stirring that around. Now, this is optional. I love it. A little bit of American mustard. It's got a balance of kind of sweetness and acidity. If you've got English mustard, you could throw that in if you like. Mustard and cheese works very, very well together. So we stir that together. And then at this point, we're going to twist a little bit of pepper into it. And the last thing is the spring onions. They go in. Then we're going to put the pasta that we've drained here. And this pasta, we will just stir through.
It smells amazing.
It's great, isn't it? That mustard makes it come alive. The mustard is the thing that makes it kind of, it's that little bit of acidity with the warmth. It brings it. We just stir that pasta in. Now, again, we're using the lovely spiral shapes, but if you want to use the pole winner of the shells, that would work really well. Spaghetti, again, would work really well. You stir it all together.
Just love the fact that it's using something like hot dog sausages, which you're so used to just going, well, all I can do is make a hot dog, is put it in a bun. But actually it shows that you can get so creative with different ingredients, particularly things like tinned ingredients, where it might be more affordable, and it's obviously going to last a lot longer. So
look, the way I view those hot dog sausages, they're an absolute budget version of top-end salami. You know, we look and cook with amazing ingredients in the restaurants, okay, and we use fantastic charcuterie, these beautiful cured meats. But essentially, it's hot dog sausage. It's the same. It's got those same sort of spices and seasonings to it. Absolutely delicious. And it's a great way of getting protein in a very, very simple method here.
And a great way to keep your kids sweet. I think definitely it's the sort of thing that appeals to little taste buds and everything.
Absolutely. And again, because it's pasta, it's filling. A little goes a long way. I'm going to give you a bit and hold on.
Amazing.
We've got a little bit of the Parmesan cheese there that you can sprinkle over the top.
Thank you very much. There we go. It's absolutely stunning. There we go.
And it's 4 proper portions in there. I'll take a bit of that.
We'll go.
And that's it. Very, very simple. Took about, what was that, 20 minutes to put together?
Bad. Have we got another VT? I think of some more kids as well doing a bit of cooking whilst we get our forks ready.
I think mine's going to be better than yours. I think you're right. Wow, it smells delicious.
How easy is that to make?
It's pretty easy. Delicious.
That's absolutely delicious, absolutely amazing. And we do have the results in as well. Cheese-wise, as much cheese as possible, 61%.
That's got to be the standard answer, isn't it? Who says less cheese? No one says less cheese.
Had to be done. So yes, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I think, we've got some comments coming in now as well. So could you make it without sweet corn?
100% you can make it without sweet corn. The sweet corn is there. It's frozen. You could use tinned if you wanted to, but actually use extra peas. You could use frozen green beans. You could use any frozen veg, whatever you've got. It's no problem at all. Really, just swap it out.
And what's your go-to cheap filling meal when you don't have loads of time, or I love that, or too knackered to cook, which I think most of us are most of the time?
You could see that pasta didn't take very long at all, but actually that's still getting pans and bits and bobs out. But there's a couple of great recipes in there. The fish finger sandwich is a really good one. You literally turn on the grill some waffles, grill some fish fingers, some lettuce, some tomatoes, put it together, make a bit of a tasty mayonnaise. It's very, very simple to do. toasted cheese sandwich. I mean, again, really simple, really quick. And if you've got that frozen cheese ready grated in the freezer, sprinkle it on. It's really quick. It's really easy.
You mentioned about the tortilla pizzas as well.
Yeah.
And they are my absolute go-to if I want a quick lunch or if I want something that I know my kids will eat. Because as well, I'll use toppings from the freezer. So not just shop bought frozen stuff, but like you froze the spring onions, I might have some frozen spring onions or some frozen hot dog that could go on. So I think the tortilla pizzas that you've got on full-time meals, like people have got to go and check that out.
Have you seen the video of who cooked that for us?
Did,
so
yes.
Joe Wicks.
Joe Wicks
Did the full-time meals video that you can see actually on the full-time meals Facebook page and Instagram page. But when Joe Wicks did it, he also threw on as much cheese as possible. So like, it doesn't matter how much cheese you put on, especially if you're super fit like Joe Wicks.
Yeah, if Joe can do it, then we can totally. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So, yes. So, thank you so much. We've had the comment that this is such a great scheme. Love it. And it really is, isn't it? And it's been a fantastic venue here as well today. So we want to say a massive thank you to Taz as well for having us here in this kitchen. They do such amazing work here. There's so much food that gets saved by this community kitchen and people getting trained within the community as well. So it's just such a wonderful thing and it's amazing to be here.
The wonderful thing about this whole campaign for me is being able to get right back into grassroots level and see people doing wonderful things in their community, trying to help as many people as possible, making sure that no child goes to bed hungry. So thanks everyone else that's been involved in this. Full-Time Meals campaign is incredible. Thank you to Marcus and the team that run it.
Thank you. It's amazing.